Hello, everyone, and welcome to Moonride. We're here with BSeiryu. She and I work at the Cosmic Connectors Collective, where we work as a group to channel information from spirit. Often, we will speak to different spirits. How are you doing?
Good, good. It's a pleasure. It's a big pleasure to actually speak with you individually and to share this opening, right,
Yeah.
onto what we're doing, what we're doing.
It's really fascinating stuff. Maybe you
Mm.
could, like, in detail, just sort of, well, maybe not too many details. How do you get in? Because that's a common question that I get.
Mm. I think what's now I'm new. I'm a newbie here. I am, the Bashar and all those people. That's like we're talking 20 years, 25 years, 30 years. For
Uh,
me, this actual connection with channeling has just been about okay, 2 years. So this is all pretty fresh, and so I can share my experience with that. It's a lot more sensitive and difficult, if you will, coming in when you're new,
yes.
because right, because you don't know the territory. This is new for you. You're constantly second guessing yourself. You're always saying, am I going out of my mind? What are these voices? Blah blah blah. Where am I? Where am I? Where am I? And what I found, and I went through it too. I mean, I can remember some shrieks as I was, dealing with the levels of energy.
Mm,
But I think the easiest way to prepare yourself for channeling is to get comfortable with quiet time and with sitting with yourself in a meditation practice, a mindfulness practice. Now I have friends of mine who say, "Oh, I can't do meditation. I can't do it." Well, that's like saying I can't breathe. I mean, spending time with yourself and just letting yourself hear yourself. I can hear myself speak. I can hear myself, what is it? What is the phrase? Think. I can hear myself think. We say that, right? We
right.
say that. So it's just a matter of spending time listening to yourself
Mhm.
and trust. I do have to say, trust is a big one.
It
You
is.
do,
Yeah.
it's huge, right? Right? You
Right.
have to, it's important to practice trust. And what you'll find is if you embark upon this and you can't trust yourself, it's not the end of the world. It's not the end of the world, but it is something you need to work on.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, you do have to, this channeling is kind of ironic because people think, oh, well, you're opening up to these strange, like non-terrestrial or non-material forces. But where it starts is you channeling yourself,
Right. Mhm.
you know,
Yeah.
right? You're opening access onto your heart,
Yes.
onto your soul.
Mhm. Yeah.
And that's the pathway.
Mhm.
They will not engage, at least in my experience with Column, they will not engage in anything which is inauthentic.
Right. Yes.
It's just not part of their makeup,
Hmm.
you know, in my experience. And we can make up, we can make up things.
Yes.
That's what humans do this. And so it's important, and that's good. That's not bad. That's imagination, right?
Uh-huh.
And imagination is what we need. I mean, for me, I have to expand unbelievably to allow that kind of energy to come in. And in order for me to expand like that, I need to trust
Hmm.
and I need to have imagination in that in other words, I have to be able to make apparent what I cannot touch,
Right.
right?
Yes.
Okay, so I have to trust myself and I have to use my imagination while trusting myself.
Yes. Yes. It's complicated in that way. Yeah.
Well, I mean, it's delicate. I mean, it's like any human relationship,
Sure.
I think, at bottom,
Yeah. Now,
I mean,
maybe one more question before we actually go into the channeling, and that is just because I experienced this too. How do you know when you are channeling?
right.
How can you tell that it's not just a stream of consciousness?
Well, in the beginning, it may be.
Uh-huh.
And you can still do that. You know, it's not like you ascend and then forget about everything that happened before. You know, it's not like that. It's you incorporate yourself, all of yourself. So you know, I can still speak a stream of consciousness. You know, I can still write stream. I mean, I can still do all of that, but I've learned to discern. This is something they were telling me about this meeting that maybe we'll share when I go in. But discernment. It's because we use that every day to walk around furniture. You know, I mean, we use discernment. We see, we make decisions, and so the key thing here is trust, authenticity, and to discern where are you, where are you, and what will happen is over time as you cultivate and nurture the channel and that becomes very real because things will happen in your life. My God,
Yeah.
stuff stuff will happen,
Mhm.
and you'll have and you don't have to expect anything. Just be there, be open to it. I think it's very much like giving birth as a female. I do not have children. I have not given birth. I've been a university professor, so I think of my students as my well, not really because they're not children. But anyway, I think it might be as an artist birthing. You know, you're birthing something, and you're caring for it, and you're loving it, and you're sustaining it. So that means your diet. You take care of your diet. You take care of exercise because all of this is done in service,
Yes. Yes.
right? This is in service, and when you understand that role, they've come through a few times. They're quite powerful. You know, this is another thing that I don't see gets talked about a lot. You're in the face
Mhm.
with a lot of power, tremendous power. I mean, oof, more power than I've ever experienced. It bigger than a plane. I mean, more than a tokamak. I mean, you know, we're talking cosmic here. We're talking so it is a matter of there's a lot of humility involved
Mhm.
because they deserve this one column and his collective. They deserve my respect,
Right. Uh-huh.
right, and my care and my love because they've been very clear that they're coming through to help.
Right.
This is their sort of mission, and this is why I'm here. This is why I'm lending myself to their in service to them.
Mhm.
So that's very helpful. Just remember your place.
Right.
If that sounds weird to an American, I've spent almost 30 years now in Japan, so I understand. I mean, there are places in this dynamic that
Yes.
is useful to be
Yeah.
aware of. Useful to be aware of.
It
Yeah.
does require some humility. And part of it
Oh,
is, they'll come and say, Dave, no more sugar or white flour, etc. And if I want to do this job well, I'm not perfect in any regard, but I have to make some inroads into those things. Because, the body's not working particularly well, then the channeling won't work particularly
Well,
well.
that's it. That's it. And the thing is I don't want anybody to be fearful. I mean, they know, and I'm speaking for myself, right? But they know it's my decision.
Right,
I mean, I'm not a puppet.
right.
I'm not a puppet, right? That's key, right,
It's
Dave?
very important. Yes, you need to be in control of the channeling. Don't leave your body and go out and start doing stuff. You want to bring spirit down here. But
Yeah.
that's kind of they're simple processes that I use, and feel free to watch my videos on pyramids that would show you how to protect yourself and know. But
Yes.
I think we're both going to agree. It took a while. It wasn't like, hey, I'm channeling. There were definitely very specific stages as you move forward. It was also really helpful to have a group because as we were doing it
Oh,
together, kind of
huge.
go, oh, take a glass of water, rest.
Huge,
This
huge.
is a
Dave,
little
you
overwhelming.
have been very helpful. You have been very helpful because you've been doing this longer than I have. And in a group with Kiren and Sue, Carl, you, I mean, there have been instances when it's overwhelming. It can be overwhelming,
Yes.
and to have a like-minded fellowship of humans is really helpful because it also helps you to witness
Hmm.
with others the event.
As they happen.
And right, and so you don't think, oh, this is crazy,
Right,
I'm going off my rocker here.
right, right.
It's not that. It's not that. And to have
Hmm.
a container, like with your once everybody looks at your videos for how to work into this, it's important to have a parallel track there with someone. It could be a good friend. It could be people in your own neighborhood. This is
Yes.
what used to happen in the UK with the spiritualist groups.
Hmm.
It would start and many Bashar. I mean, there are many. I can't remember names right now, but people who began in their living rooms or kitchen tables,
Right, right.
and had people over and said, "Hell, can you work with me?
Hmm.
Can
Yes.
you work with?"
Right.
This is when I was studying in mediumship. We did practice sessions, working with spirit work, and that's how I began.
Yes.
I began through mediumship.
Hmm.
And I will say, I will drop a name here, Suzanne Giesman, who I took one course, and then we formulated a group out of that course, and it just kept a natural kind of momentum, a kind of building, and you can use the tools for mediumship. This asking. I remember when I took the course because it was like $300, and I was thinking, "Wow, should I really do that?" And it was in the night. It was 10 p.m. at night, and I'm here in Thailand, and the birds are quiet at night. Birds are quiet, and I said, "Okay, if I need to do this," and Suzanne encouraged this, "if I need to do this, let me hear a bird call." And whammo! I mean, right on top, right on target. I mean, I hear this boo, 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 and I'm like, that's okay, okay. I need to do this.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm not going to shirk it. I'm not going to hide.
Hmm.
Stop
Yeah.
hiding.
Right.
Stop hiding.
Yeah. Oh. So along those lines, shall we go ahead and chat?
Sure, come out.
All right, ready? So
Okay.
this is quite spontaneous, everyone. I did not
Yeah.
plan on this, but I'm going to start with, well, maybe it would be useful just to do the pyramids that I spoke of, and I'm going to put a link here. And so
Beautiful.
I always find them to be very helpful. So
Mm.
I'm going to ask you then, imagine a pyramid over your head, and I hear chimes, so we must be doing the right thing. Imagine a pyramid above your head. And if you put that pyramid above your head, put in anything that looks like love, right? And that could be love you've given to another, love you've received from another, and do think of specific instances. It might even be love you've just seen between two people. Perhaps you saw someone help someone at a grocery store, or whatever that is, and go ahead and put that into the pyramid. And if I can just ask you, B, what color is your pyramid?
Oh, it's a rainbow.
Wow, that's a nice one. Good. All right.
Mm.
I'd like you to lower the pyramid around you,
Mm.
right? And so that you're surrounded by the pyramid of love. And one thing that is also important is to be attached to the earth. So there's one pyramid going upward, and I'd like you to think of another pyramid going downward. So if we were looking at this, there'd be two pyramids, and it looks sort of like a Jewish star. And this pyramid is made of crystal, and through the crystal pyramid, through your feet, like lightning bolts, I want you to send any extra energy. Anything that's not, appropriate now, just, whatever's on your mind. You got to go to the grocery store, you got to fix that, whatever it is, just through your feet, like lightning bolts, put it into the earth, and Mother Earth will transform it. All right. And one more thing, B, I'd like you to think
Mm.
of someone who truly loves you, who has passed there, and oh, I want you to think of that person and just bring them closer with the memories. This could be a family member, a friend, anyone who loves you, who did pass, or no longer embodied, and just sort of remember them. And as you remember them, uh, remember the events, you might feel them closer to you. Just invite them into your pyramid with you. And they'll just make sure that everything's all right. And that if anything unpleasant shows up, they'll let you know. And in your mind, I'd kind of like you to give them a high five, so welcome into your pyramid. All right, good. And now let's just settling in. I'd like you to picture in front of yourself a sort of golden stairway. And I'd like you to walk up the stairway towards the sky. And after the first flight of stairs, there's going to be a doorway that opens before you. The doorway could be made of almost anything, could be metal or glass or wood. And I'd like you to go ahead and picture the doorway. And before you walk through that doorway, make sure that it feels pleasant. That is, if you get a weird kind of thing with the doorway, push it aside and find a different one. But if your appreciation of the doorway is better than neutral, just go ahead and walk through. You might find yourself in space or anywhere else. And then picture again another set of stairs. Walk up the stairs, there may be a few landings. And now we're getting to the top of the stairs. And you're going to go ahead and walk through, just trusting that at the top of the stairs, that spirit is going to come and meet you. Are out in the universe, stars are about you, etc. Maybe you just see a lot of light as you walk into the place. And as before, we have spoken of a room that you go in. It's a big, long table at the room.
Mm.
I'd like you to have a seat there, right? You wish you can get yourself a glass of water or whatever makes you feel comfortable. And then we're going to ask Spirit to show up for you. And so I'm going to ask now, B, has Spirit shown up?
Mm. Certainly the guardian of my ancestral family, the great my aunt
Mhm.
Susan, is a love, and she is here very much.
Great. Okay. So are we speaking to her today, or do we go a little bit further and speak to one of our guides from beyond?
I would personally, I would prefer Column.
Okay.
Column would prefer. us.
Okay, good. Well, let's go ahead and we're going to invite him in. Take your time here as you invite him in. And I'm saying him, but if call him, I don't know if it has a gender. Uh,
Work with them.
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 Okay, them, of course. All right. And just let
The
me,
most appropriate path is one where pronouns are not specific.
good, good. Do we speak?
When we are dealing with energy, this is column.
Thank you.
We present ourselves as a collective. It is easier perhaps for they, them. The inclusionary aspect appeals to us.
Good. So, I would just like to ask a couple of questions, just for people at large. The first one is this time seems to be, we're in a timeline that is vastly accelerated. It is sometimes extremely frustrated. Just
Mm,
simple
mm,
things this morning, nothing was working with the computer today. It becomes very
mm,
frustrating. Can we know
mm,
why this feeling
mm,
is sort of pervasive? And we
mm,
do. Okay.
mm. This is an aspect we may say pressurization. There is a sense for your species of pressure, pressure. And we are here to illuminate the means to alleviate this pressure. For this sense of pressure is generated through your reaction. This is important information. You, as a human species, are grounded in a space-time matrix. We use this term matrix outside of conspiracy theorists. There are no theories where we come from. There is one inclusive reality. And for us, space-time is but a construct. Now, you as humans have chosen to incarnate, some may say incarcerate, yourselves in this space-time continuum, matrix, for it is dynamic and unfolding. The call to you at this time is to become aware of the coordinates of space-time, because it is the space-time that is creating for you your pressure. In other words, Dave, as you began with this computer incident, no doubt you had an appointment. There were time sign posts that you needed to affirm on your way towards this goal. This pressure to perform is something which we ask each and every one of you to become aware of.
Hmm.
And in those moments when you feel this stress, take a moment. This will demand your engagement with yourself. Take a moment to breathe.
Hmm.
A deep breath to come back to source, to your connection with source. If you feel it helpful, return toward your belly button, inner, outer. Breathe your conscious connection through the umbilical cord which once connected you to your mother matrix.
Mm. Mhm.
Each of you has a mother matrix, male, female, feminine, masculine, any identity, as a criminal, as a witch, as a sorcerer, as a humanitarian, teacher, mother, father, child, family member. Each of you has this connection. You have never lost this connection.
Mm. Mhm. Thank you.
Breathe. Breathe that connection. Draw it up inside you and exhale.
Ah, ah,
When you return to this connection, begin again.
mm. Very well. Thank you. Mm.
Hmm.
May I ask another question?
Of course.
It seems that at this time, more people are doing this work, more people are channeling,
Hmm.
more people are doing psychic work
Hmm.
or working with tarot cards. What is
Hmm.
happening? Why are we doing this more?
'Tis a marvel to behold.
It is.
'Tis a marvel. We apprehend this on your planet.
Mm,
It is if it is as if the lid has been removed,
mm,
and there is and are openings after opening after opening after opening, and these are each individual lights of conscious awareness. This is preparatory. This is also natural. This is due process.
mm,
It is time.
mm. Good. So, for those people who are wanting to develop this work, wish to learn to channel, for example, what should they do?
Find community.
Mm, mhm,
This commune. It is not by accident you have the word in one language, communion,
mhm,
communing, community.
mhm,
As a species, you are above all social.
mhm,
You enjoy social networking. This is one of your attributes to access onto a collective.
mhm,
Now, this can happen in, let's begin with two levels. The personal level is to commune with yourself, to commune with, some of you call it faith, others call it trust, some call it devotion, others merely say knowing, a profound sense of knowing.
mhm,
That cannot and will not be taken away from you.
mhm,
That is your right. You know when you have hurt someone. You know when something happened that was non-linear. Part of the communion is to be aware and to share that communing with non-material forces. And we add a note of caution before we move to the next level, which is that this level of communing must entail a large dose of humility. This path is not meant for everyone.
Mhm.
You cannot legislate any more than we do. We do not, and you do not legislate what communion means to anyone but yourself.
Mhm.
This is important, for in these times there are waves of seekers who desire communion and yet are, we shall say, half cocked.
Hmm.
Their gun is ready to go off and create harm. Above all, create no harm. In order for you to join with us and for us to join with you, this must be at the heart of your connection.
Mhm.
And it is your job, dear ones, to ferret out the corners, the dark areas waiting to be lit, where you have reactive tendencies to lash out. There is work to be done here, and it will not happen overnight.
Hmm. Okay, thank you.
This is the first level. The second level, we have come from you as a person in your hood, your personhood, the neighborhood of your own person. And we shall now segue, make our way onto the neighborhood, the world outside your door, outside your senses, outside your capacities.
Hmm.
This is the world of your work, colleagues, the world of your family, friends. These are the worlds with which you engage, and we ask you to integrate these worlds with your personhood. May we say neighborhood, personhood,
Mhm.
personhood, neighborhood. You are all in the hood.
Hmm. Hmm.
You are all functioning as one. Now, there are aspects to this union which you practice, and in order to practice, you break down into digestible pieces. You take one square of chocolate, not the whole bar, and you examine where you may sit with that chocolate. You taste individual pieces, small bites. That one square of chocolate may last a minute, 2 minutes. You savor your connections. You savor your senses. And it is possible you may wear a hood to bring you peace, to be alone in order to focus
Hmm.
on this communion. So you see, we have hood, personhood, neighborhood.
Hmm. Excellent. Thank you very much. Maybe
Mm.
one more general. What advice would you give for humans now at this time, outside of what you've already spoken of?
Take time. Take time. One of the unfortunate consequences of this perceived acceleration is the perception that you no longer, each of you, have time. Time, as you said, Dave, appears to be speeding up. Things are happening at a prodigious rate. We ask that one coping mechanism is to set aside your machines. For you are organic beings, carbon based. And this is your heritage at a cellular level. Do heed your origins. Do heed yourselves as marsupials.
Hmm.
You have in your anatomy a place for a tail.
Hmm.
If your belief system does not allow for this, you do have images of incarnations in a human, all too human body.
Hmm.
It is important for you to remember your body in this process,
Hmm.
and that will involve stretching. We shall not use another term. We shall simply say stretching, for there are many associations with different terms that cascade into a series of shoulds and oughts and expectations. These may trip you up. Simply stretch. Use weights. Very often we have found with this one, the levitation is sometimes difficult to manage. Therefore, she uses 3 kilogram weights, and she holds these, practices with these to ground her on earth. It is not by accident that you are here on this earth. Acknowledge that. We thank you, Dave, for your meditation with grounding and lightening. Lightening.
Hmm.
These are lightening bolts. This weight, if you will, enables you to be light.
Hmm. Hmm.
This is what we may offer.
Brilliant. We wish to thank you and say we appreciate your being here.
Mm.
Now we will depart and bring B Nat back to normal consciousness. Thank you again, Colin, for showing up for us today.
Thank you, as ever.